first off. Jeff, just looking at your upcoming opponent, looks like they rebound the basketball really well. Safe to say that's a point of emphasis for this one.
Huge point of emphasis. I think they're second in the country and fourth in offensive rebound. So that's one of their best offenses is to get it up there. They'll rotate in 4 or 5 bigs that are physical, excuse me, that are relentless on the glass. That was a point of emphasis for us today, and will be tomorrow, will be Friday when we do shoot around, and hopefully by the time we get to the game, we can do a good job of being physical and blocking out.
On the note of rebounding, I mean, you guys, you're up there in the national stats as well. Are you happy with how you guys have rebounded the basketball?
I am for the most part. I still think we can get better as a coach. You are constantly trying to be perfect, but I do think we've done a pretty good job with it.
Jeff, how have you seen your guys respond to the coaching points from this last game? Like you said, Florida Gulf Coast was different than your first 2 contests, so it felt like there were more teachable moments that you probably guys could go over in the film room and on the court.
Yeah, and today was the first day getting back. I think they saw it. They saw some of the mistakes that we made and some of the things that we have to correct. Creating the habit of consistently sitting down in the stance, of consistently having active help side where you see the man, your man and the ball, being able to rotate, the consistency of talk, playing post defense before the guy gets the ball. Those are the big areas where we have to really become consistent. We've been good at them, but we haven't been consistently good, and that team was able to expose it maybe a little bit more. And so that was a point of emphasis again today. And again, we're just trying to create those habits.
What were some of the points of emphasis with Guillermo specifically as far as defense goes?
Post defense before his guy gets the basketball, knowing what ball screen coverage that we're in and being able to be consistently good at it, and playing with more force.
With Will, he came in so young. How important was it? Experience is good for everyone, but for him specifically, just to get some years under his leg or get some years and get some experience.
Yeah, well, I thought last year was, as much as it hurt him, on a personal level, I thought it was good for him to have a chance to sit and to watch. I would have preferred to have him out there, but I do think there was a silver lining with it. He got a chance to really take a year and work on his body. I think you can see that, how much stronger he is, both physically and mentally, because he had to fight for something. He had to fight to get back. And I think that shows out there on the court. He's a guy that doesn't take being out there for granted. There's a different maturity level to him, to his approach, and a different type of physicality that he's able to play with and play through.
You've seen a few guys go through that. Nike went through that going into last season. Will's doing that this season. Is there a common thread that you've seen from your players that allows for that resiliency?
I think it shows the perseverance. I think it shows the love that they have for what they do. And, sometimes we all are guilty of this. You take some things for granted. And sometimes it takes it being taken away from you for you to understand and realize how much you really love it, how much you care about it. And when you get that opportunity again, you're going to make the most of it, and you're not going to take it for granted. So certainly Nike did that at a very, very high level, and we hope Will continue to do that.
Just a lot of people think that defense is an effort-based thing. How much of it is maturity? How much of it is guys maybe realizing whether that's their chance to be on the floor or where they can make a stronger impact?
I think it's a lot of things. I think effort's a big part of it. I think talk is a big part of it. I think it's being able to be smart and understand what we're doing, what our game plan is. And from game to game, it can be different. But being able to focus and concentrate in the practice and the preparation, whether it's film study, whether it's walkthrough, whether it's a breakdown, and understand why we're doing it, and then understanding how to execute it and being able to do it in real time, being able to do it when you're tired, being able to push through tired, being able to defeat tired, and being able to concentrate and focus when you're tired.
Because you guys have been scoring at a pretty high clip, but I'm guessing you're probably more concerned about the defense come ACC play in particular.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first 2 games I thought we defended pretty well. I didn't think we did it consistently in our last game. Now, I thought we did a good job defending the 3. I think they were 9.5 per game last year and through their first 2 games this season. And we held them to 7 and below 30%. So that was a point of emphasis. But we gave up 48% from the field. We don't want to do that. We have to do a better job of guarding the basketball consistently. And then in that game, we faced something different. We faced some post guys where they were going to throw the ball inside and look to attack from there, and we have to be better in those situations.
It's safe to say there's been some work at the foul line in
Yep.
the recent couple of days.
There has been. There will be. There has been leading into it. We have to be able to make teams pay. Teams are averaging in 3 games against Jacksonville 25 free throw attempts a game. So they foul a lot. We have to be able to make them pay.
Jeff, just looking at your team's schedule, obviously things crank up a couple of notches here after the weekend. How do you go about making sure your team doesn't look ahead? Because I'm sure they're probably a little bit more excited to play a Florida or a Baylor compared to a Jacksonville.
Well, we better be excited to play Jacksonville because I know they'll be excited to play us. The thing that we constantly talk about is being where we are, not looking behind, not looking ahead, being where our feet are and focusing on this moment and just trying to be 1-0. At times I know that's easier said than done. I understand that. Sometimes the opponent's human nature. For us, those first couple of games, even the exhibition game, like it went really well. We played well. It was exciting. People around here are excited. We have to stay even. We can't overreact either way, good or bad. We have to stay focused at the task at hand. And that's what we did today. I thought we did a good job of that today. We have to do it tomorrow. And, we have to be ready to play on Friday. Next Wednesday will take care of itself. And Friday after that. And I don't know when the next one is after that, but I know it's someone big and we'll be ready for it.
Going back to the free throws for a second, the numbers that you guys have put in games, are those different from what you've seen in practice? And
They are pretty much. We really have 3 guys that have struggled in the games that have to do a better job. We as a team collectively can all do a better job. We've done a good job of it in practice, but there's a different type of pressure when it's games and people are there. We have to be able to step up and knock them down.
Last year, you guys, of course, set the program record for most 3-pointers made. Right now, you guys have 2 guys tied for second most just through the early part of the season, the ACC. How do you see your team? Is that a challenge that you guys are looking at, like, hey, we have to be productive beyond the arc, or is that just a result of the game plan and just something that you look back and say, oh, that was nice that happened?
Well, no, it was something last year that we tried to be conscious of when we recruited. Going out, getting guys that could shoot. The first 4 years we couldn't. We just couldn't. That was the reality. And so we tried to be mindful of that in recruiting. We've tried to be mindful of that with this year's team. I don't think we've shot it as well as we're capable of. We haven't had a game yet where it's clicking like we've seen in practice. Some of that's a testament to defense. Some of it we just missed shots. I thought we got some really good looks, some clean looks in the last game. We missed some. But those are the shots I want our guys taking.
You got right now Bub and Blake both with 9. Who are some of the other guys that you guys expect when things are clicking? They're going to be the guys.
Yeah, Jorge, we saw it in the first game. Guillermo can shoot the basketball. Ish can shoot it. His volume's not as high. Jalen made 2 the other day. He can shoot it. Mike can get in and shoot it. Will can make it. He's got to do that a little bit more consistent. But I feel confident with everyone we put out. Fetty's not. That's not who he is. But everyone else, we feel confident with them being able to shoot the basketball. As long as they're good shots and come within the flow of what we're doing.
Will said the other night, he'll do whatever he has to do to win games. His role right now is not necessarily a glamorous one, right? Defense, rebounding. Did it take him time to, I don't want to say accept that, but understand that that's how he can help the team best.
Well, that's interesting because like it's like who's it glamorous to? You know what I mean? Like, and that's one of the things that a young player has to understand. All players, not just young, all players have to understand, like, how do you get on the court? Like, what's your role? What are you good at? I think so many young people try to be good at so many things. And the way the game is judged, when I remember when I was younger playing, and it was different for me because my dad was a coach. So I was never asked after a game, how did you play? Then the next question was, how many points did you score? I was never asked that. Because that's what most people look at as glamorous, as sexy, is the scoring. Oh, he can really shoot. Or man, this guy can really play, or he can really handle. Did you see that crossover? And things like that. You know, to me, man, being gritty and and being able to really defend and to guard multiple positions, like that's so good. Will had a play towards the end of the game. We showed it today. He guarded 4 people on a possession. Like that's big time stuff. Because it was 2 guards, it was 2 big guys. And to be able to sit down and to do that, like that's big time to me. Now I'm a basketball guy. I'm not just a regular fan that just look at Sports Center and that's all that they show. And so one of the things we try to do is to get our guys to understand that every role is glamorous. Because every role is important to the managers. We can't do what we do at a high level if our managers aren't good, if they don't do their job at a high level. So everyone should take pride in whatever their role is, whatever their strengths are, and do it at a high level. Now, to answer the second part, it does take time for guys to understand that. Because when they leave us, they're going back and people are asking them, how many points did you score? How many shots did you get? Or, man, you should be shooting. You know, oh man, they're looking you off. And you got to be strong. You have to be strong in who you are as a player and be like, you know, hey, like, don't talk to me about that. This is what I do for my team. This is how I can get on the court. This is how, whatever. It doesn't mean that Will won't ever shoot. It doesn't mean that he won't make plays for us offensively. I think he can be a good offensive player. But he can be a heck of a defender. And he's shown that. He really showed that in the last game.
When you were talking about the play where you guarded 4 guys, was that the one where I think there was a bad pass that Ish got the steal in a fast break?
No, that was another one.
Okay.
That was a little bit earlier. That was around the 13-minute mark.
Oh, yeah.
This one was towards the end. I think we had, it was maybe a little bit over 2 minutes,
Okay.
maybe a little bit under 2 minutes. I mean, he guarded every position. They had a side out of bounds. You know, he switched on that to take the slice cut away. And then he switched on a ball screen, switched on another ball screen. I mean, it was a really cool thing to see.
And when you show your players that film, is that like a boost to morale and just kind of, you know, the team being together, seeing someone that invested in their role?
Yeah, I mean, we try to highlight that because it's really important to winning. You know, being able to do that. Like Fetty had a play, not the last game, but against Binghamton, where he did that, something similar, where he guarded, for him it was 3 guys on the possession, and being able to sit down and to do that. So we have multiple guys I think that can do that. I think Jorge can do it. Zach should be able to do it at a really high level, but the concentration and focus has to be, you know, there to be able to do that. Ish can do it. You know, I thought one of the biggest possessions of the game, last game, Blake switched on their point guard and sat down and stayed in front of him and forced a turnover. So he's shown that he can do it. You got to do it consistent. It has to be who you are all the time, not just, well, we need to stop now. We need to stop all the time. And so to have the focus and the concentration to do that.
I wanted to ask, last week you signed the two guys in the 2024 recruiting class. We haven't really gotten a chance to talk to you about it since then. Can you talk about each of those guys, just what attracted you to them, what they bring to the program?
Yeah, well, we've known Beaver for a while, obviously, with Nelly. You know, even before we started recruiting Nelly, we started recruiting Brandon. And it's been really cool to watch him improve, to watch how much better he's gotten, the time that he's put in, you know, in the weight room and working on his game. He's quiet, but he has this competitive fire that I love. and he really, really played well last spring and summer on the EYBL circuit. He's wired to score. I think he has a chance to be a heck of a defender, and I think he's going to continue to get better and better. And he's an unbelievable kid, which we know a lot about, he and his family. And so we were really excited when he committed. Couldn't talk about it, but when he signed, to have him and his family, not just him, but his whole family, to continue to be a part of our program. Then Amdi is a guy that, kind of has burst on our radar a little bit this summer, but more so like in the fall. And he's someone that we follow, but we just saw how much better and better that he's gotten. And one of the things that we try to look at when we recruit, obviously talent, but we really try to look at upside. How much better can they get? Because I think as long as the kid's is willing to work, I think we've shown that we can help you get better. And when we looked at him, he's this 6'10" guy that can, he can defend multiple positions. He has a high motor. I think if I remember right, I think 2 years, maybe 3, but 2 or 3 years ago, he was a 6'1" guard. And then he hit this growth spurt. So he's ball friendly, he can shoot, and he's a good athlete, and he's got a high motor. And he's a really, really good kid. That's one of the things we were able to see when we brought him in for an official visit. It's important for me, especially now, to have recruits around our team. And I want to get what they think, what they feel. And all of them to a T said he fits us. He fits who we are. And so we were really, really fortunate to get him, and think he's a guy like Brandon that both of those guys have high upsides.
On the note of Amdi, where do you find a guy like, because just trying to find stuff to write about him, he's a lot more under the radar than most other guys you've recruited in recent years.
Yeah, no, he's, we heard about word of mouth, people up north told us about him and how much better he's gotten. And, we started going up there this fall to see him just as we were out. One of my assistants kind of makes the trek up there and goes and sees a bunch of schools, I should say, and saw him. Really was impressed by him, went back and watched him, really was impressed even more. And, so I, got a chance to go see him and watch him film and, just the upside, and, started developing a relationship with him and got him.
And on the note of upside, is it kind of similar to maybe like the Twins too, where you see just a younger guy with a lot of length and say,
definitely like that, like Mo
Mm-hmm.
Gee a couple of years ago. I wish we had him for more than 1 year because we saw how much better he got. And so, it's those three that he kind of reminded us of, but in his own way. He's different from all three, but he has some similarities.
Coach, you obviously dropped a promotional video for the volleyball game this Saturday. I know they're trying to get right to the attendance record, but what's the relationship between you and Dan Fisher, and how important is it for other athletic programs at the university to have success, and that helps impact your program?
Yeah, well, Dan and I have had a good relationship since I've been here. Obviously, they've been the winningest program here at Pitt and Pitt Athletics. What he has done has been amazing. And so having a chance to talk to him and pick his brain about how he did it when he got here. And it's important for the teams to be good. I love coming to other sporting events here and seeing our guys there. And it's not something we make them do. It's something that they want to do, to support. They have relationships with them. They have a common bond with them. And so I love seeing other teams be successful. I think it helps all of us be successful.
On the note of back on guys like Will and Zach, you talked last year when you guys were facing leaky black blue guys. Is that something that you coach these guys to be a lot of us saying is trying to show them a tape of other guys that play that role, not just leaky, but guys on cross paths?
No, it's we try to show examples, man, on all levels. One of the things that's fascinating to me is that we've had guys, I've coached guys before, where you try to tell them that and they're offended. You know what I mean? Like it's, I had a kid before and I talked to him and I tried to use an example of an NBA guy.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, if you can do this, this is what they're paying these guys. And he's offended. We had a scout at practice a couple of weeks ago. And he's talking about one of our guys. And he says to me, like, you know, he should really study PJ Tucker. And he was like, PJ Tucker is a guy that all 30 teams want. He said, we tried to get him 2 years ago. We tried everything we could. And this is one of the better teams in the league. We tried everything we could to get him. But you want a guy like that because he's so tough defensively. He knows who he is. He can guard multiple positions, and he can make an open three. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? But it's hard for guys to figure that out and to accept that. I told a kid, years ago, I was talking to him. One of my best friends is the general manager of the New Orleans Pelicans. We talk all the time, but especially as you get close to the draft, he'll call me to ask me about guys. What do you think? Guys we played against, coached against. I see a lot of these kids in high school. What do you know? Whatever. And then every year I always ask, like, who do you like? Tell me who you like, because I'm always fascinated by that stuff. And he says to me, we don't really. This is before they had made a couple of trades, but he's like, look, we got scoring, we have rebounding, we have all of this. What we really need is like somebody that can defend these guys. Mm-hmm. And he said, if they can defend at a high level, they'll score in this league because they'll be on the court, they'll get a couple of layups, they may make a three, they'll sprint, they'll cut, they'll get fouled. And he said, I'll pay somebody, $15 to $17 million a year for that. Like, come on, like, what are we? And then you say that to a guy, and they get offended, and their families get offended.
Do you think part of that being offended is AAU culture?
I have no idea. PJ Tucker was Big 12 Player of the Year. It was a scorer. Yeah. But how do you accept your role? He was a non-drafted guy. He went overseas. Mm-hmm. There's a great clip that he talks about, like, people want to play this role. This is what you do. You may play 40 minutes and not touch the ball, but are you effective winning? And the guys that get that, man, like, you have to understand who you are, what your strengths are, and it doesn't mean you have weaknesses. It just means, like, I'm really, really good at this. Like, I can really defend. I can really pass. I can really defend a ball screen. Mm-hmm. There are guys in that league that make it. Like, they can't make a post move. It's a post move. They can't make a post move. But I can defend the ball screen. Mm-hmm. I can rebound. I can be in the dunker spot. I can catch lobs. I'm really important. You may not throw the ball to me in the post, whatever. When I did USA basketball, we had some guys that were like first team All NBA that were like, they couldn't make post moves, but they could defend a ball screen. You could throw it anywhere to them. They talked. They understood who they were, and that's what this whole thing is about. And the really good teams. That's one of the reasons I thought we were good last year. The parts fit, and we understood who we were. Everyone understood, like JB, like he's the lead, he's the voice, he's, this. Blake is the emotional guy. Nelly's the steady guy. Greg's the shooter. Nike's the wild card. Like, he can get going, and he's, Fetty's the guy that's going to defend everyone. G is going to come in and give us some minutes, and he's different than Fetty. Guillermo when he plays, and so all of that, and that's what we're trying to establish right now.